Well, I really enjoyed doing all the activities because there was a whole bunch of bouncy houses and water slides and as Marshall has pointed out, sweet treats. Like, a lot.
The bouncy houses that we could like spend time together and everybody could play and get their energy out.
Amazing.
Check. I liked Buckets and Boards, the percussion comedy show, and it was funny and it was fun to listen to.
What was something that you learned? Secret tunnel!
Tunnel! I'm trying to recall information.
That's good.
I'm trying, yeah.
It's required.
I'm trying to think of like the last 3 days of this. Probably that sometimes we just need to thank the Lord for all He's done.
Don't be rude to others, be kind to you and others.
What Wesley said, I learned that you should thank God about everything that He made, everything.
Yeah.
And
Why is that? Why would you say something?
well, because if He wasn't here, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Also, I learned one other thing. It was in the dorms. Not exactly a speaker said it. My counselor said it. She said, God first, others second, me third.
Oh, I like that a lot.
And that's what she said, and that also taught me something.
All right.
Clap. Okay, so what I learned from Uplift is that even just one person can like affect a lot of stuff. Like if one person shared God's word, then the person that he shared with would probably share a different person, and it would just keep on going, and more people would learn. And so that's what I learned about God. And I have stickers on my face because I lost a game, silent football, and normally the loser gets a punishment. My punishment was I have to wear stickers on my face for 24 hours.
All right, take two, Haley, go.
Take two, Haley, go. Okay, so I kind of learned that like little lights can shine bright, which basically to me kind of means that like even though we might be like quote unquote like smaller than like celebrities or influencers, we can still make a huge difference in people's lives and make their lives so much brighter just by encouraging them and being ourselves and helping them be themselves, if that makes any sense.
Get it?
Mm-hmm.
Hey CBC fam, it's Emmy. For those of you who don't know, this past week I was an in-dorm sponsor with the campers that went to Uplift, the girl campers I was with in the dorm, which is, okay, we're restarting.
And then you're gonna put that in the bloopers, just like, boop,
Okay, so my biggest, Sam will get out of the video.
boop,
So my biggest takeaway from Uplift this year, a couple different things. So,
boop.
like this Uplift experience, being with that 7th, 8th, 9th grade age group was really good. I messed up.
Boop.
6.5 hours later.
I have two really big takeaways from Uplift. The first one is don't eat sour Skittles and Flamin' Hot Doritos as a midnight snack. You'll never recover. And the second one had to be on a more serious note. The spiritual side of things. Going into the week, I didn't think that I had like a heart for like the middle school age of ministry, and at least not yet. I thought I would get to it eventually, and I thought that like being around people my age was going to be better. I was so wrong. This group of kids, so awesome. All of them, the 4 guys and 3 girls. It was just so good to be with all of them and see them experience worship in a cool new way, and experience some awesome speakers, and the community that they have there at Uplift is just awesome. And that was really great. Realizing that I did have a heart for that like 7th, 8th, 9th grade of kiddos was awesome. You know, staying in the dorm and just partying, eating ramen noodles until our stomachs hurt.
All right, Hunter, what's your favorite part of dorm life?
No bedtime?
Well, that's not accurate.
Every night, that was fantastic, and just laughing about nonsense, and just being kids. I felt like a little kid again, which is awesome. And every day you've got a different crush, so that felt right at home. And so it was a great experience. I had a blast. That was the whole spiritual side, was getting to be around those kids as like a sponsor and minister, I guess, in that way, and realize that I'm ready for that now, and I enjoy doing that now. It was super fulfilling. So yeah, and of course the Flamin' Hot Dorito things.
What did you get out of Uplift?
I got really tired, and
Just like how you are now.
God did
Guys, quiet.
closer to God, and that we're like lights, and we like are useless except like, well, not. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
To Casey, go.
I learned that one small act of kindness can make a huge difference, such as when the waiter gave South, the little boy, pizza dough, and then how he then started making like models out of dough, and then that became like everything. Clay creations, yeah, and how that changed his whole life.
Were you recording?
What the heck, Macy?
Are you recording yet?
I got to make better friends and strengthen the friendships that I already had. And then I got to worship and connect better with God. Technically have church on days that really aren't church days.
What do you want me to talk about?
My spiritual takeaway from Uplift, there were a couple different things that really stuck out to me. But the top thing was definitely focusing on your motivation behind what you're doing. And so they focused on your life, whether it's making your bed, holding open the door for somebody, or bigger things like committing to God, telling others about Christ. Whatever you're doing, it needs to be in terms of your relationship with God. Thinking back to that, thinking of it with a reverence and a respect. And specifically, there was one speaker who talked at Group Uplift. That's a kind of big class setting where he talked to probably 75 or 100 campers, and I was able to sit in on that. But he talked about the idea of self-glorification and doing everything unto the Lord, and not necessarily thinking about how man would view what you're doing. So that was probably the biggest thing, is when you focus on man when you're doing something, your reward will be from men. But if you focus on God when you're doing something, your reward will be from God. So doing a small thing for God is worth more than doing a big thing for man. That was really convicting, because I'm lucky enough to serve at City Point, but I've definitely fallen to the trap of thinking about how man would view it and not focusing on how God views it. And so it was a good reminder, a good encouragement to think about. And I hope that I've already been able to see the impact of keeping that in the forefront of my mind. So I'm very excited about how God will use that to reveal things to me in the future. So, yeah.
The biggest thing that I can say now is what worship looks like and what it means to glorify God. A lot of you know I sing on the worship team, which is an amazing opportunity. And through that, I have seen worship as singing songs of praise to God, a lot of time in a church setting, but sometimes it's around a campfire or sometimes it's just with a friend or something. But I've seen worship as music. And while that is very, very much true, one of our speakers this week talked about how worship sees no bounds. And that was kind of new to hear, especially singing worship a lot. It was so amazing to see how worship can glorify God in the smallest things, in doing an assignment for school in a happy, patient manner. Like that can bring God glory, and how we can worship God in the big things and in the little things and in all things. Like we have the opportunity to bring God glory and to bring him praise, and it doesn't have to be a specific situation. It doesn't have to have special circumstances. Like worship sees no bounds. And so that was just amazing to hear and amazing to learn, and amazing to get to teach and talk about. So that was one of the biggest things I got to take away this week, and I'm very thankful for it. But like I said, there were a million other things. So yeah, I love this week. Thank you guys so much.
Something I got out of Uplift was I started singing, even because I never do. But when I get to Uplift, I started singing the songs. A lesson that I learned is lights are not meant to be seen. They're meant to be to make other things be seen. So you're you can be the light, and then you could shine on other people to make them get closer to God. You can help them get closer to God, and that's that. I love you.
I got closer to God from our theme and from worship, and since our theme this year was Illuminate, it showed me that everybody can shine in their own way. Oh, and I ate really good food.
Do you remember something a speaker said? Or you learned in a class?
I remember that one of the only things that I remember is that the bride served. Oh, there's these people that got married, and then the bride served mac and cheese.
God's going to love and know you no matter what. And there's no stopping that. And that he will just always be there no matter what. And to treat others mercy. There's so much stuff that I've learned, and that's just a few of them. I'm very happy with the whole Uplift experience. I would say it's a really good idea to go. Bye.
My big takeaway from Uplift this year was a couple different things. The theme was just awesome. It's one that I don't think that we could hear enough as believers. This idea of letting your light shine, and what does that specifically look like in today's world? It's a conversation that I think needs to happen over and over again throughout our walk. It's one that reaches everybody, no matter what your age is, no matter what your background is. All walks of life can learn better to shine their light as Christians and believers. So the theme was incredible. All of the speakers were just so great, and had so many great perspectives that all reflected on that question: what does it look like in today's world to shine your light? But more so than anything else, towards the end of the week, I found myself feeling an overwhelming sense of gratefulness that our youth is having, because of things like Uplift, is having the opportunity to be exposed to so many different avenues for worship. It really points out the fact that worship is not just singing songs along with a band. It's not singing songs along with other church members in a Church of Christ, which is all the, it's all a cappella worship and at Uplift, but it's also the attitude that you have when you wake up in the morning. It's a conversation that you have with your classmates or with your coworkers or with your parents. Everything has the capacity to point back to God. Every decision that you make has the capacity to bring him praise. And I think that just the atmosphere of the camp in general at Uplift points to that truth, which is worship is so much more than what I think a lot of people would initially guess worship is. Everything has the ability to point back to God. Everything has the ability to bring him praise. And I'm so, so grateful that our kids have the opportunity to really be exposed to that truth. So that was my big takeaway.